with Stitcher's Supplier. Force negation in the sideboard for Oliver Tomajko.
Yeah, a couple of the other lists I saw this weekend looked like they had Force in the main deck.
Yep.
But he's got it in the sideboard.
Either way, still have access to that means of interaction. In the main deck, you are just super linear. You're doing your thing, putting things in your graveyard, trying to go ahead, get those Narcomoebas back to the battlefield, a little creeping chill action. About the only deviation from that plan of put things in the graveyard, make creatures once upon a time, and I mean, that's just enabling that plan, so.
That is an interesting one to me, the once upon a time.
I think there's two numbers of once upon a time it's correct to play, and I have no idea how to prove this theory, but I really truly believe this. Like, I'm not just memeing here. I think if you're playing once upon a time, you're either supposed to play 1 or 4, and there's no other correct number of once upon a time to play.
Okay. Do you have...
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, I got nothing for you, Craig. This is just something I believe.
Oh, no.
It makes sense to me. I can't tell you why.
Willing to put yourself out there with
I'm just
that?
willing to say it.
Listen, there's no logic. There's no reason. This is my belief.
I mean, the main thing is, like, it's huge when you open on it. Either you're able to reap benefits from just opening on it, so you may as well mize and have that 1 copy, or your deck can leverage its mana efficiently in the late game, and then you want 4 copies, and anything in between doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's what I got for you.
Okay.
I'll work on developing the theory. I said it was half-baked. We'll figure out exactly what I'm trying to get at. Hedron Crab is the start from Oliver Tomajko.
Yeah, and that's an important one.
Yeah, ready to get to some milling action. Meanwhile, over on Rosum's side, Witching Well. There are so many new cards in this deck. Gilded Goose, Emery, Urza,
Yeah, the well
Astrolabe, Oko.
Among the least exciting to me.
I agree with that. Mystic Sanctuary. Here's a Hedron Crab trigger. That's going to put a Vengevine into the yard for Tomajko. Tomajko, of course, no stranger to graveyard decks whatsoever. Plenty of experience playing Dredge, plenty of experience playing Hogak. This is a form of Magic Tomajko is very comfortable with. Not much of an explosive start here, though. Just going to pass the turn back to Rosum. I think Rosum said go? Question mark? He is baffled.
He's trying to figure out what's going on here. So am I.
Oliver's just like, my hand's just bad. Don't think too much about it. Arkham's Astrolabe. Rosum draws a card. Here's a Mishra's Bauble. And the goose is loose, Craig.
It's no elk, but we'll still take it.
Right.
Well, although...
There will be an elk eventually.
It could be an elk later.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Untitled Goose game, Craig?
I have not played said game, but I've heard many good things. Have you dabbled?
I've dabbled a bit.
All right, and?
It is a good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I played with my wife, and then my wife went around setting elaborate traps for me for the rest of the week.
What does that mean?
Well, so like in the Goose game, you're supposed to like distract people so you can steal things from them and just like generally cause mischief.
And now she's just doing that to you in real life.
Yeah, my life's a hellscape.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And you don't worry at all that you're just giving me some form of inspiration by telling me this moving forward.
May as well just lean into
mistakes were made here, my friend.
Lean into the skid and just let my life go totally off the rails. I'm getting goosed in my home life. I'll get goosed here in my professional life.
All right, let's be careful what we say here.
Gooses all around. Here is an Urza making a lovely Matthias Hunt token.
And yet, Tomajko really does have a rather anemic hand.
Yeah,
here.
just doing nothing, basically. Just going to get that crab going here. A little fetch land action. 2 triggers stacked up from Hedron Crab. Already had a precarious life total, though, and Rosum now basically with all the mana in the world.
Yeah.
Comes trigger number 1. Finds an Narcomoeba. It's nice. Trigger number 2. A couple of grave crawlers there. That could bring back Vengevine. Getting a little something going.
Yeah, but he's really not.
I said a little something, Craig. I didn't say a lot of something. Step 1, casting a Gurmag Angler, it looks like.
Yeah, we're getting a fish onto the board.
Okay, there's the Angler. Oh, Rosum has a response in Cryptic Command. Follow-up Gravecrawler.
Okay.
Gonna bring back Vengevine. Cryptic Command, a new addition to these Urza's decks. Pretty scary, honestly. It's a mode of interaction they haven't had previously. I will say, it seems a little clunky in some instances. I wonder if you're just supposed to be playing more engine cards maybe, but they like the setup of Cryptic Command Mystic Sanctuary, and they can get it pretty reliably here.
Yeah, they're taking a more controlling approach. To me, it makes sense with Oko solving a lot of problems.
Sure. So turn back on Rosum now. Battlefield quickly getting unintelligible and unmanageable, as these Urza boards often do.
Just the way we like them.
Right. Aether Spellbomb going to come down for Rosum. Has access to 73 mana, I believe.
A precise count.
And that is a 32/32 Matthias Hunt token, something like that.
I believe it's a 6/6.
Oh, okay. That was a lot like my Once Upon a Time theory, where I didn't really hash it out all the way. Narcomoeba going to hop in the way of Matthias. And Rosum just going to pass the turn back. We're back on Tomajko now. Glimpse the Unthinkable was the draw.
Yeah, and Oliver's hand, unfortunately, has a lot of his payoffs that he wishes he was milling away in it, which means he has less in his deck to mill away.
Yeah, and there's basically no way to dump those back into the graveyard in Oliver's deck. We don't have Faithless Looting anymore.
There's a way.
What way is that, Craig?
He's got to cast them.
Right. And then slowly cycle them around the graveyard.
And then, yeah, maybe they tussle in combat.
Okay, there's no good way.
Yeah, there is no good way.
No exciting way. Rosum recognizes that. Going to cash in that Spell Bomb.
Yeah, he's really keeping his life total high here.
Makes sense. I think Rosum just needs time. Very happy to just hang out. Going to make some food. Goose continues to be loose.
Cash in the well.
Yep. Grabs a Mystic Sanctuary. Going to be able to buy back that Cryptic Command if he so chooses. 3 islands at the ready. Oh, boy. I get what they're saying when they say maybe this is the straw that breaks the camel's back when it comes to Urza. This deck has some things going on.
It really does. They've got a stew going here.
Mm-hmm. Goose slowly adding food to the battlefield, upping that artifact count. There's Cryptic Command back on top of the library for Rosum. Mishra's Bauble. Second Mishra's Bauble. Huge Matthias Hunt. Going to make an attack. There goes Prized Amalgam. That'll be back before long, I have a feeling. We're going to cash in one of these baubles. Take a look at Tomajko's top card. Be able to load up that Cryptic Command before it goes back to Tomajko's turn. Here we go. Gets the draw from the bauble. Tomajko, another Glimpse the Unthinkable.
Yeah, a lot of pocket pairs for Tomajko here.
Right.
None of them really what he wants to be doing. I mean, ideally for Oliver here, he wants to navigate this game in a way that he can get in some chip damage here and there, and then with the glimpses, potentially steal the game with some creeping chills. But in the face of all the food, and it just already so far behind.
Yeah, it just feels like those first few anemic turns really doomed Tomajko. Rosum has the defenses up pretty well at this point. Looking like we're going to go ahead and make some food with Goose. Use one of those foods to go ahead and cast a cryptic command. Why not?
Probably counterbounce my Sanctuary.
Counterbounce my Urza.
Okay.
Makes sense. It's one of those spots where there's no bad modes for cryptic command, right? Anything you randomly choose to do with it will probably yield pretty nice return. That makes sense given the second cryptic in Rosum's hand can just get another Matthias Hunt down, try and end the game in a single swing.
Yeah, this is one of those awkward games where Oliver, he's not dead. Like, he feels obligated to keep going through the motions.
Yeah, I don't think this is scoop territory, but the odds of him winning are super slim.
He's dead, right?
Yeah. Here's another Mystic Sanctuary that's going to go ahead, put that cryptic command back on top of the library.
Yeah, why shouldn't a fetch land put a cryptic command
No,
on
that's
top
fine.
of your library?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. This is just good magic.
It's usually the type of utility I expect out of commons. Second Urza.
More Matthias Hunt coming.
Good token choice by Matthias. Getting a lot of play at all of our modern opens. Maybe at Legacy opens in the future. I've heard some rumblings.
Yeah, sometimes things just work out, right?
Yeah. Well, that Matthias token going to go ahead and attack once more. Cash in this bauble. Take a look at Oliver's top card. And reclaim that cryptic command. I bet we're setting up for lethal here.
Yeah, just tap down the team, send in my 2 giant constructs.
Yeah, I like that. Oliver sees the writing on the wall. Going to go ahead and scoop him up, and that means it's time for a little sideboard action. I think that was just a misstep from Oliver. It wasn't really any matchup problem. It wasn't anything Rosum did. In general, I think given the texture of Rosum's draw, Tomajko's deck is supposed to be able to keep up with that.
Oh, for sure.
It just didn't do anything.
Yeah, if there was a misplay there, it had to be in the hand that Oliver kept.
Right, and I don't know how many cards Oliver was on when we started that game, but
sure.
Could have been some mulligans already happening there. Well, let's take a look at sideboards here. You see over in Oliver's sideboard, we were looking at 4 Fatal Push, 3 Damping Sphere, 3 Force of Negation, 3 Nature's Claim, and 2 Stain the Mind. What do you like from Tomajko?
So just confirm, Stain the Mind is the Surgical Extraction-esque card?
I'm going to tell you, Craig, I have no idea.
With Convoke.
No idea.
We're going to dial that one up, I think.
We'll figure it out at some point, exactly what Stain the Mind is.
I can't believe you don't... See...
I know a lot of Magic cards, Craig, but it's been a minute since I even heard Stain the Mind mentioned. Tell me about the other cards. I'll tell you what Stain the Mind does.
So it's a little weird when you're playing a deck like Oliver is where you want to attack your opponent dead. Here's a Stain the Mind.
There we go. You were right. You had it correct. You should trust yourself more.
No, I thought I was right.
4 colorless, 1 black sorcery. Convoke. Name a non-land card. Search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library.
So not Surgical Extraction so much as it is...
Unmoored Ego-ish.
Yeah, what was the 4-mana one back in the day?
Cranial Extraction.
Cranial Extraction.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That one I remember for some reason.
Dial up those sideboards again. So this is super interesting. Have a card like Nature's Claim when you're trying to kill your opponent with damage.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems a little awkward to me, but it's possible that card is just still too good and too efficient in this matchup to not play.
I think I agree. You have to make some concessions to your linearity. Also, there could be some really unpleasant surprises lurking in this Urza deck. Something like Ensnaring Bridge can just ruin your day. So you want to have outs to things like that 100%.
Well, and even if you thought, some people might show up Leyline in the field today.
Yeah.
That is the cleanest answer for that.
Oh, absolutely. Meanwhile, over on Rosum's side, we are looking at 4 Damping Sphere, 3 Fatal Push, 2 Nile Spellbomb, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Drown in the Lock, 1 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Assassin's Trophy. Some options here for Rosum.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones here. We love the Nile Spellbombs. We love the Grafdigger's Cage. And it's funny, I think Drown in the Lock is just always on. Right? Like when your opponent's just putting
counterspell
as many cards as possible into their graveyard, it's possible that Drowning Lock is just better than a more expensive, more clunky card like a 4-mana counterspell.
Yeah, I mean, it does a good job controlling like the key engine pieces too. You can pick off a Hedron Crab. Very important to not let them just have that sit on the battlefield all game. So I think Drowning the Lock might have a home here. We'll have to see what Rosum thinks. Obviously, all the graveyard hate coming in, trying to make it tough on Tomajko.
Yeah, even on Tomajko's side, something like Fatal Push is very tempting when you want to just pick off that early goose, and it can still take down Urza in the mid game. I can see the draw to that. I don't know if I'd be putting it in my deck.
I mean, I'm just scared, Craig. We just saw Tomajko's deck basically fail to itself with the most linear configuration possible. And that points to me that there's not a lot of room to really move things around and get some of these non-engine focused cards into your deck.
Sure, it just feels like leaving... Like, Goose is a little bit of a problem. Emery can be a big problem for you if that stays on the board.
Right.
And Urza is obviously just the massive
These are messed up creatures. You're 100% right. I can't argue with you there, Craig. Well, it's time to talk about buying Magic cards again, Craig. And of course, we do have the non-English sale going on right now. Go to StarCityGames.com/sale. You can get foreign Isochron Scepters, foreign Harmonic Slivers, foreign weird head crab things, foreign Mirari's Wake.
Skull Clamp. Come on, man.
Oh, you can't blame me for not knowing that art. Who has played with the Skull Clamp in the last 15 years? I know original Skull Clamp art.
I have not.
Right. Nobody has. I don't even know what that's from. Have you seen that version of the card before?
I think it's in one of the
Eternal Masters?
No, one of the pre-con decks.
Oh, okay. Okay. I bought some cards today, Craig, while I was here at SCG Atlanta.
You always do.
Got myself some foil Abrupt Decays. That was my purchase for today.
Did you get the sweet ones?
I did not get the WMCQ ones because I think the RTR ones actually look really awesome in foil. They have like these really staunch bright points in the art of the card, and there's also the Guild watermark in foil as well.
Is, yep.
So I was actually a bigger fan of the RTR ones.
I like both of them.
Both good. My present pick for the best removal spell in Pioneer. Looks like Rosum going to be on a mulligan here. Tomajko with a keep. Nile Spellbomb. It's a good start.
Yeah, it looks like he's got decent action going on. I think he's just contemplating what he wants to put on the bottom.
Tomajko has all the engines this go around. I saw a Hedron Crab. I saw a Stitcher Supplier. A little unfortunate that Rosum's going to be able to lead on a Spellbomb, but such is the graveyard life.
Live by the graveyard, die by the graveyard.
Correct.
Yep. So for our non-English sale, you think they've got cool ones like the... there's a few cards printed in the Phyrexian mana. The Phyrexian...
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if those are included in non-English or not. Isn't it just the Elesh Norn, or are there other ones?
It might be just the Elesh Norn.
That card is really cool, though. Merfolk Secret Keeper. The Adventure side. Going to be cast here. 4 cards go to the bin, including a Prized Amalgam and a Creeping Chill. A little bit of damage headed Rosum's way. Rosum leading on Forest, into Bauble, into Opal, into Spellbomb.
Oh, he can even draw the card off the Spellbomb if he wants to.
None of my cards cost any mana. Sick Life.
Yep, they all draw extra cards, cost no mana, and provide mana.
And Oliver's like, well, I got the Hedron Crab. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 1 mana O2. Get him.
Polluted Delta. It's going to trigger the Hedron Crab. Going to let that trigger go ahead and resolve. Do see Fatal Push from Tomajko. Here's a Narcomoeba as well.
Trigger on the stack.
Yeah, Rosum now has to make a decision.
It looks like Rosum's head is going to explode.
The this one Narcomoeba, the bane of Rosum's existence, is going to cash in that spell bomb, takes a draw, and now we're going to go ahead and get that second Hedron Crab trigger.
Yeah, it's tough when you have Nile Spellbomb because it is just so good, but you still have to be careful when you play it. You know, it's
absolutely
this one-time use you're getting out of the card.
Absolutely. Untapped Overgrown Tomb, Stitcher Supplier, you see a Prized Amalgam, gets a Narcomoeba, gets a Creeping Chill, pretty good. Pretty good hits there for Tomajko. Rosum falls to 14, Tomajko back to 20, and that Amalgam coming back. I can't believe this is just Rosum's turn too. It feels like so many things have happened this game already.
So many things that have happened. It's absurd.
How is that possible? Well, now we're on turn 3 somehow.
Listen, Wizards wants this to be a turn 4 format, you tell me.
I've put 25 power onto the battlefield by turn 2. No, not quite that dramatic. Hogak no longer around.
Dude, we had Hogak just a short time ago.
Things are better now, Craig.
Are they?
Everything's fixed.
I mean, at this point, you might as well just unban everything. Just give everyone everything to work with.
I've advocated that before. Nobody liked that idea. 2 triggers coming for Tomajko. Narcomoeba, the only real relevant hit there. Vengevine in hand for Tomajko. Stitcher Supplier in hand for Tomajko. There is that Stitcher Supplier. All these fatal pushes finding their way to the bin. Gravecrawler. Okay. Time for some attacks.
What was that other card? Was that? So he has Memory Sluice.
I played that card at a Pro Tour, Craig. And somehow this slow march of zombies is enough to defeat Jonathan Rosum. He scoops up his cards, and we are headed to a Game 3. Tomajko winning that one through a Nile Spellbomb. I would take note of that. But again, Rosum did nothing. Basically, we've had 2 players play solitaire against each other. The other side doing nothing. That means we're in for a banger of a third game.
Oh, for sure.
So Memory Sluice is mill anyone for 4. And then you can use the Conspire ability, tap 2 creatures that share a color with Memory Sluice.
Oh, to copy it.
To copy it. Hedron Crab and, of course, Gravecrawler, all share colors. Stitcher Supplier.
Okay.
Yep. It's a nice one from Shadowmoor.
Yeah, Narcomoeba.
Yep. Shadowmoor, one of my favorite limited formats of all time, actually. And I enjoyed the Memory Sluice deck in that format. It was rare. You could occasionally mill your opponent out.
And now we're back there again with the current limited format.
Yeah, now we're doing Merfolk Secret Keeper things. Although I'm told that's exaggerated by Arena. It's unbearable on Arena, I won't lie, but I've heard that's not a real life problem. That's not really what the format looks like.
Okay.
I have no opinions on the real format anymore because I mostly get my limited through Arena, so I don't know what to make of that. I'm sure a lot of people in the same boat as me. I guess what I need to do, Craig, is head to an SCG game night and see if I can find some drafts going on. Every week in October, you can pick up Bark Shadows tokens and sleeves. If you want to know more about where SCG game night is occurring, you can go to go.starcitygames.com/game night. Playmats, sleeves, player bundles, they're all there. It's our creature collection for this month. I like this Bark Shadows one. This is a good one.
Yeah, that pug needs to be eating a little less bratwurst.
Yeah, maybe. Pug could use a diet. Basically, anytime I get the pun, I'm into that creature collection.
That's all that it takes for you?
Right. Some of them go very far over my head. So if it's simple enough that I understand, then I'm in 100%. And I understand Bark Shadows.
Listen, we're simple people here behind the booth.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep it not confusing. Keep my puns simple. That's all I ask. Keep my elks well labeled. Organize your zombies properly.
Oh, what a mess the zombies. Oh.
Craig just had flashbacks when I mentioned the Field of the Dead zombies.
Yeah, just 20 zombie tokens on each side of the board.
We only did it once, Craig. It was a very brief foray into Zombieland for us.
But we were so excited.
I know.
For new standard.
I know. Tomajko's hand looking pretty nice over there. Good mix of enablers, grave crawlers, fatal pushes. Yeah, nice stuff. Rosum, on the other hand, not pleased with the initial 7. Going to go ahead and look for a better 6. Yeah, I haven't really seen anything out of this Crabvine deck thus far. I'd have no strong opinions being formulated from these games. Like I said, it just feels like both players have gotten to do their thing once while the other player did nothing. Seen fail rates from both sides.
Well, the games haven't taken 20 minutes each, which is a big plus.
I mean, they've still taken 15, and that game was only 3 turns long. Like I said, it felt like eons since that game started, and I looked up and we were on turn 2.
What is power creep?
I don't know. A lot of actions for a very low cost. Let's not forget those fetch lands, too. Plenty of shuffles. Here we go. Let's get to some shuffling from Rosum. Start with a Scalding Tarn. Snow-covered island. Craig's favorite land.
Oh, yeah. Definitely need more of these instead of...
Which of the snow-covered lands do you hate the most? That's my question.
I don't think I have a strong opinion. It looks like he's got a mix of snow lands in his deck.
It's a nice little start. How about a turn 1 Emery?
Powerful.
Reasonable magic card. You can just cast Mishra's Bauble for free every turn for the rest of the game.
Yeah, at least
from
it
your
doesn't
1-drop.
fuel itself.
That's good. That's good. Some powerful magic cards in this Simic Warza deck. Let's see how fast of a start Tomajko can get off to. Yeah, I guess you're just super incentivized to answer this Emery, because if you ever set up Emery Nile Spellbomb...
Oh, mama.
GG.
Yeah. That one's hard to overcome.
Tomajko is going to go ahead and fetch here. Gets a Watery Grave untapped. Do you think it's time for the Fatal Push already?
Yeah, I think you've got to take this line.
It just generates too much advantage.
And a lot of what Oliver wants to do is through Hedron Crab.
Yep.
So you don't want to deploy the crab until you can play your lands anyway.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I think Fatal Push was the right call there. Meanwhile, we're going to head back to Rosum eventually. Rosum having a bit of a think here. Going to go ahead and bobble. Takes a peek. Takes a draw. Finds another bobble. Takes another draw. Finds a land. Any other payoffs in hand for Rosum? A sad, ineffectual Mox Opal on the battlefield presently.
I don't think it's going to be lonely for very long.
No, it usually isn't. You don't see many Mox Opals incapable of making mana these days. They all pretty much get the job done.
That is so true. That's something I hadn't thought about.
I think once you're playing it in your deck, you're pretty much making that statement anyway. My deck will reliably turn this on.
Well, the Affinity deck to me was one of the big ones that it always had it online.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like over time, I don't remember a specific instance, but I'm pretty sure I've seen, like, the lonely Mox Opal that's just not as good as you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. How about another Emery? We'll try that again. Couple Astrolabes headed to the bin.
And
not the worst case scenario for Oliver, but not good.
Only turn 2 again.
Right. We have played a lot of spells. And now Oliver's going to get to work on his graveyard. Does have access to a Gurmag Angler this turn, should he want it.
Yeah, he'll have plenty of resources to get that onto the board if he wants to.
Looks like we're going to resolve triggers one at a time here. Prized Amalgam hits the bin. Now we crack Verdant Catacombs. I have a feeling just Gurmag Angler is not going to be enough here. Something else really, really good should happen on this mill. if Oliver's going to be okay in this game.
I agree with you, but there's also the possibility that that's just the best thing he can do this turn.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was. I'm not questioning the play. I just think like it was at a point where you needed something good to happen from your graveyard, and that's what this deck lives and dies by, right?
Sure.
These blind flips. What are you going to hit?
Rosum isn't so set up yet. I can see just another really big turn next turn, maybe involving 2 Vengevines, and those will bring back a bunch of prized amalgams, some creeping chills in there. But potentially, Oliver's still very much in this game.
Sure, does have access to a Stitcher Supplier. It looks like another fetch land in hand as well. Maybe another Hedron Crab. Not 100% sure on that one.
So yeah, a crab with a fetch land and a Stitcher Supplier would be just a boatload of cards.
Yeah, Emery coming online now, though. Uh-oh.
That's the big payoff that Jonathan was looking for.
That was a Nile Spellbomb off the top for Rosum.
Huge find.
Emery now online. Yeah, that is big trouble for Tomajko here. And Rosum still had a very comfortable life total, too.
Oliver killed his first play.
Yeah.
His opponent's first play.
Yeah.
And then deployed a 5/5 on turn 2.
Yeah. Not very good.
Yeah, and it's looking not close.
Do more, Oliver. Work harder. Here comes Gilded Goose. Gonna bring some food with it.
Honk.
Very good, Craig. Nile Spellbomb is the play. And the turn is passed to Tomajko. We're going to cash in that bauble. Take a look at the card drawn by Tomajko. It was a Narc Amoeba. Gross.
So the Untitled Goose game, is this an app that I can download, or is it on a platform?
I played it on Switch. I know it's available on PC as well. I'm not sure whether it's available on phones.
Okay.
Sorry. Someone tweet at Craig. Let him know where he can get the Untitled Goose game.
And tag Cedric in that tweet because he loves that.
Right. Cedric just wants to know what we're up to on social media at all times. You should always be tagging Cedric anytime you tag one of us.
At Cedric A. Phillips.
Right. Here's a Creeping Chill found on the first 6 cards that hit the bin for Tomajko. Step 2, Stitcher Supplier.
He's trying to spread out the mill here.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense.
Which he has to do.
Spellbomb's going to be cashed in now. Prior to the Stitcher Supplier.
Yeah, I mean, casting the Stitcher Supplier triggers the Vengevine.
Right.
And Jonathan wants to not allow that Vengevine to come in.
Makes sense. So, Oliver's Graveyard. Exiled. Or maybe that was after the Stitcher Supplier put 3 in the bin? Maybe my timing's off because I see Oliver reaching for a fetch here. Although he could be doing this in response to the Stitcher Supplier trigger.
I think he's leaving that on the stack.
Okay.
So that he doesn't mill the land he wants to find with his fetch land.
Makes perfect sense. Let's see how many cards hit the bin here. If it's 9, we'll know this is in response to the Stitcher Supplier trigger.
And can we count to 9?
9's a lot. I'm gonna leave that up to you. They don't pay me to count here on the SCG Tour. Pay me to say words, I think. I don't really know what they're paying me for, actually. Here's this first Creeping Chill. Going to bring Rosum down to 9. No payoff there. And now there should be one more mill from the Stitcher Supplier. There we go. Narc Amoeba. Gravecrawler. This looks okay.
Yeah, obviously the Nile Spellbomb is a big problem, but he's hit enough of those Creeping Chills to really pressure Rosum's life total.
Yeah, and the Hedron Crab coming up huge is just a persistent source. I mean, this was like kind of the role it played in the Hogak decks as well, where you just would rebuild after your opponent's graveyard hate.
100%. You just plow through it.
Rosum down to just 4 now. And Rosum's in danger. That was that big turn we were talking about. And it makes sense. When you have 2 Hedron Crabs as well as a fetch land ready to go.
Yep, fetch land, 2 Hedron Crabs, the Stitcher Supplier. A lot happened that turn.
Rosum drew another spell bomb. Step 1, Astrolabe.
Yeah, I think he wants another card right away. This is one of those awkward spots where it's possible Rosum just isn't able to use all of his resources before he loses the game.
Right.
So he has a food. He has a goose that can make more food.
And you see a head shake there from Rosum.
Yeah, he has access to the spell bomb, but he doesn't have the mana to do all of these things.
Here comes the goose. It is loose. Second food. Mystic Sanctuary. That would enter untapped. I don't think any targets in the graveyard presently. So maybe you want to wait on that if you're Rosum? No, going to deploy. Am I misreading one of the lands here? We don't have the island?
So he used it to play the Nile spell bomb.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you, Craig.
So it looked like he came into play tap, but he's using the mana.
Good catch. Well, now the turn's back on Tomajko. Crab, zombies, fish, jellyfish, all at the ready. And step 1 is an attack with all of those things. The geese are going to have to do a little blocking here. 3 damage heads Rosum's way. Going to fall to just 1. What's the follow-up here from Tomajko? It's another Narcomoeba. Another Gravecrawler. Looks good to me. And just sends the turn back to Rosum. This is the Hogak deck in a nutshell. Do you remember all the graveyard hate it was able to overcome by just playing dumb 2/1s and 1/1s and finding beatdowns that way? We're seeing it happen again.
We are. I mean, Oliver has had access to a lot of his graveyard at different points in this game.
This is true, but this is the 5th turn for Rosum.
Yep.
Has played 2 spell bombs. I mean, you can't expect much better than that realistically in his configuration.
I agree with you. These Simic Urza decks don't have some of the hate cards like Ensnaring Bridge that would really lock up this game that some of the other decks have.
Right. This is probably the point in time at which I want to poke fun of our naming convention here.
The no word of invention.
Yeah, there's no word of invention.
Yep.
I think it should probably be Simic Urza.
Yep.
But again, I get paid to come here and say words, Craig, not to name decks.
Yeah, we read what they put on the screen in front of us.
Correct. It's like the Ron Burgundy thing. I will read any name you put in front of me.
Do not test this man.
Well, Rosum trying to figure out how to stay alive here. And it's a tough question. Did cash in some food on the last turn. Up to 4 now. Going to go ahead, break that spell bomb, take a look at another card off the top. Tells me he needs something.
Yeah, and I think the soft lock for Rosum here is finding a cryptic command and being able to tap the opposing team and put my Mystic Sanctuary on top.
Here's a spell bomb. Is this enough?
Well, I think sacrificing a food to gain some life and bouncing something, maybe he doesn't have that much mana.
Couple blocks available. Rosum really agonizing over his choices here.
Yeah, this is tough because every turn you chump block is a turn where you have less resources for the next turn.
Right. Yeah, you need something to turn the corner. I think, like you said, Cryptic Command is a good candidate.
Well, and he has Emery active, so even if he locks himself, quote, with the Mystic Sanctuary and the Cryptic Command, he can still access additional cards every turn through Emery.
Sure. Yeah, Rosum doing what I like to call frustrated math right now.
Yeah, and he's also in a position where, another Creeping Shill potentially just kills him.
Sure. It looks like Rosum just going to pass the turn here. Things headed back to Tomajko's way. Glimpse the unthinkable. Good chance that finds something good.
Yeah, and Rosum didn't even want to tap the Emery to get the Spellbond back.
Right. Must just need to crack that food in order to survive.
It's also possible he needs the Emery to be blocking as well.
Right. All true. And here comes the whole squad. Yeah.
Eat your Stitcher Supplier, chump block the Angler, gain 3 life. Still looking real bad.
Yeah, not super pretty here. Here's Glimpse the unthinkable. Creeping Chill right off the top, and that is going to get the handshake. And Oliver Tomajko takes down Jonathan Rosum 2-1. Craig, we came into this match, we were looking for a solution. We wanted to see something that could challenge